Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Yesterday, we talked about giving thanks in the month of November, which is usually associated with a holiday that has a big dinner that happens on a Thursday. You might call it Thanksgiving in your family, or a harvest celebration, or community dinner, or Friendsgiving, or even Turkey Day. Maybe you're already planning for it for this year. What does this tradition bring to mind for you? Hey, this is Jen. You're listening to the Bible for Busy People, and I will tell you that this holiday has become possibly my absolute favorite for several reasons. First, it involves some of my favorite family traditions, like waking up early and watching the big Thanksgiving Day parade on TV. In our house, the Christmas season does not officially start until after the parade, when Santa arrives on the scene. I do not make the rules. My dad absolutely did. We also eat a simple hot breakfast. And then we spend the morning getting dinner together with some of our favorite foods. For me, mashed potatoes, stuffing, turkey, gravy, all the things. Can't forget the cranberry sauce. We usually eat mid-afternoon, maybe before or after a beautiful autumn walk, and then have seconds later in the day. We start watching a favorite holiday movie or two. And yes, I do have my favorite Thanksgiving movies. I maintain that Dan in Real Life, starring Steve Carell, is a Thanksgiving movie. But Christmas ones are welcome too. And we start thinking forward to a beautiful, cozy Christmas season. Food is such a big part of our traditions, not just my family, but everybody, I feel like. Sometimes you only have to smell a certain food and you're just taken back. You are in a certain moment in history, in another kitchen with family or friends. And then gathering to eat together is just relational. It's a way to connect, to celebrate or remember, and to enjoy each other's company. Jesus set up a tradition for us to remember and unite with him. It's a way that we experience intimacy and connection with Christ. It's a way that we can enjoy that time together over breaking bread. It's a time of gratitude, which is why it's called the Eucharist in some traditions. It's also communal, which is why we call it communion in other traditions. Today we're reading in Matthew chapter 26. Starting in verse 26, it says, "While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, 'Take and eat. This is my body.' Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, 'Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.' When they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives." Now here they are celebrating Passover, and there are a lot of traditional foods associated with that. But in my study of this, it talks about how Jesus takes the traditional foods from Passover and reclaims them, translates them into a different meaning for his disciples there, a meaning that is about reflection and connection with him. As we talked about yesterday, Eucharisteo means thanksgiving, and it incorporates the Greek words for joy and grace. We did a whole series on the podcast about the Eucharist or the communion back in May, which is called In Remembrance, if you want to go back and look it up. And the Enduring Word commentary made such a lovely point on this topic. I wanted to go back to it. It says, "This is how we fellowship with Jesus. Because his redemption has reconciled us to God, we can now sit down to a meal with Jesus and enjoy each other's company." I think that's such a beautiful way to look at communion. We do this with our friends and family. We do this for holidays, or we do this just regularly during the week. We sit down together to enjoy each other's company over a meal. The same commentary says, scripturally, we can understand that the bread and the cup are not mere symbols, but they are powerful pictures to partake of, to enter into as we see the Lord's table as the new Passover. This is a tradition that is bigger than us, and yet it involves the simple, caring, hospitable practice of preparing food, gathering around a table, and breaking bread together. This happens for holidays, like I said, but it happens every day when you're gathering with friends or family, or even just eating a meal with you and God. We also know and have talked about here how Jesus had 7 I am statements, and one of them was, I am the bread of life. I really appreciated how a post on Crossway explained it. It says, Jesus is the bread of life in the sense that he nourishes people spiritually and satisfies the deep spiritual longings of their souls. In that sense, those who trust in him shall not hunger. That is, their spiritual longing to know God will be satisfied. What a gift for God to give us, that we are able to sit with him, to engage with him, to connect and commune and eat together and celebrate together. That is a gift. That is something to be grateful for. And it's such a great time to reflect on the ways that Jesus walks with us through our daily lives. Taking part in the Eucharist together and eating a meal together is such a beautiful way to give thanks. It's not racking our brains for something we're glad we have, as we can sometimes do on the Thanksgiving holiday. It means enjoying the presence of God, the grace that came through Christ, the intimacy and mystery of the Spirit. This is a gift from God. So again, I'm going to finish with another way to cultivate gratitude. And that way today would be to make mealtime a conscious event. Pray while you prepare food. Sit in a beautiful space, or maybe make your space a little more beautiful. Add candles or a tablecloth that you might not always use. Be present. Have meaningful conversation with the people around you, or maybe in a spiritual conversation with God. Or even just take the time to really taste your food and feel gratitude for the moment. Thanks for talking with me today, and tomorrow we will be talking about how gratitude breaks barriers.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.